Good evening, everybody. This is Robin with another edition of Horror Pop After Midnight. And my guest tonight is filmmaker Mike Fox and actress Arianna Fox. How's it going, guys?
It's going great. It's going great. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah.
Ditto.
Now, let's talk about your upcoming short film, Sleepers. I just saw the trailer, and I loved it.
Thank you. Yeah, it was amazing. And props to everybody who helped make it happen. We literally only had 5 hours total to make that whole trailer. And the 1 hour was dedicated to Jonathan, who is the fight choreographer. Major props to him. So he worked with the girls, Arianna, and then Evie. Evie, right?
Evie Flander, yeah.
Evie Flanders, yeah. And
Flander without the S.
Without the S. I always get that wrong. And then for about, I'd say 45 minutes, we were there at the cemetery with the flag kind of thing.
Yeah, the flag, yeah.
And a lot of people don't realize in the trailer, until I pointed out, that the flag changes from the American flag to the Russian flag for just a second. So when it comes in, it's an American flag, but then it comes around, and when it comes back out, and you see the flag come in frame, it's a Russian flag. So,
wow, that's pretty wild. I'll have to go back and check that out. I didn't pay attention to that. I just saw that, the American flag. I didn't see that. I'll definitely have to watch it. Okay, Arianna, let's talk about your role in it. You look like you were a pro, especially in the trailer where you just had that handgun and was just like loading it like it was out of style, man. You were like a pro that you can do this blindfolded, loading this gun. Did you take any training on the weapons on there?
So one of the things, probably the biggest training I really got was from my daddy. He just kind of, as the director, but also he's always helped me with my acting in general, kind of been the step-in acting coach whenever I can get one. And so he's always there to just kind of give me tips on how to do things better. And especially the fact that he's the director of this movie, that he can really tell me exactly what he's looking for in a performance. And so it was really, really nice to be able to get his tips on everything. So that was one of those things. He really wanted me to make sure that I handled the weapons as if I could do this in my sleep if I wanted to, and I guess maybe that's why we're called sleepers. No, but the point is, it's really, really cool. As for the weapons itself, I didn't have any particular weapons training or anything like that. I would love to do that sometime. I did get like my daddy did say I did get some training with Jonathan Green, who's the fight choreographer, and we got to work on the combat, hand-to-hand combat, and that was super fun.
That's pretty wild. Also, on the trailer, when you were loading the gun, you had that ice cold kill look on your face. It's like you look at it, and it's like you can turn it on and off, and it gave me a little chills up my spine a little bit.
I'm very pleased. Yeah. That's another thing he and I worked on for sure, is making sure I can nail that glare, the Anya look. And sometimes
that's what we call it. That's what we call it. Whenever we tell her something and she's like, kind of like, she gives us that Anya look now. So.
But it's we make jokes like Ari Anya because my name's Arianna, stuff like that. But no, it's really fun and she's a fun character to play because, as you might already be able to tell, I am kind of the opposite in real life of Anya. A very bubbly, energetic kind of person, and so playing a character who's so stone cold and has intention and purpose behind every movement, behind everything that she does. There's a reason behind everything, and nothing is just for a show or just because. Everything is so calculated, and so that's just a really fun character to play.
And the cool thing about how you're bringing this film, Mike, I love it because it's kind of like a Cold War / Salt. You know that film, Evangeline Jolie, Salt. It kind of has that. It kind of has that Salt vibe.
Because Salt was a huge inspiration, for a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's. I mean, obviously Angelina Jolie is does such an amazing job on Salt, but like, it's unfortunately it's a real thing that over the years they've literally arrested numerous sleeper cells in America. Both Russian and Chinese sleeper cells, and so they're a real thing. They're not a conspiracy theory. And, so Salt does a very, very powerful job, just, like Black Widow in the Red Room and things like that. And so it was a huge inspiration on the process, of how they actually hire and groom children from their youth, to be, sleeper agents, to be activated. And so, so it was a huge influence. Plus the cinematic, quality of it, and it's just, it's amazing. It's just, I love it. It's incredible.
Yeah, let's also talk about the cinematography. Some of the certain shots you did. I love the angle shot where you see Arianna, after she's getting ready to load the gun, and then she talks to her handler, and I love how you angled the camera like a certain direction to aim right at the handler.
Yeah, so it was almost a Dutch angle shot. And
you are ready.
You are ready. And that was Francesco Poltro, by the way. He's just an amazing actor. And so basically it's almost a Dutch angle, where it's at a it's not quite a 45-degree angle.
Yeah,
but, it's always when there's something that's just not right, going on there, and it's also a hero angle. A hero angle is looking up, so you have looking up and a Dutch, which means that they're very powerful. So anytime you have a hero angle, it's making the character to be an overpowered character. Or an authoritative character. They have power over, the audience or their counterparts. And
it also works well because it kind of functions as a POV shot, does it not? Because it looks like Anya. Yeah.
As if he's talking to Anya. And so, so you have,
So it's a Dutch angle, a POV shot, and a hero shot all in one.
Exactly. And so, the rest of the shots are not POV at all. But I wanted to throw that in there. But there was we had less than a skeleton crew there. So again, props to all those that helped to make it work, because there was 3 other shots that I wanted to get in the trailer, just because I'm just that way. I'm so passionate about getting in their shots, which will be in the real film project, but we didn't have time. And so one of the shots was literally, we got a fog machine. And the fog machine, it was so cool because the light, the fog, it was when Dimitri, the overseer, he was walking, and he's holding a lantern, right? And he's going like this. But in the original concept and in footage that I have, there's mist and fog, and that's coming over his shoulder, the silhouette shoulder, and it looks creepy as heck. So it looks so cool, and especially when he's holding that lantern and he's just walking and walking right into the midst. But because it was just so so small of a crew and the time was limited, and a director cannot do everything. So filmmakers, you try, but it's just not recommended you try to do everything, But and so the other shots, they didn't have the smoke in it, and so I had to take that one out and use one that I did have that you see in the trailer. It was not with smoke. It was just the silhouette, because the other shots didn't have it, and it would have been a consistency issue. And I'm like, oh man, it looks so cool, But there was some other shots that I wanted to get, like an upside down shot, and then a low tracking shot of him walking. and I just didn't have time, so yeah.
That, I mean, like I said, that's pretty wild. The whole Dimitri at the lantern. I like how you had the fog, and I love how you had the lighting mixed into it, which like gave it that kind of a creepy vibe. And when I was looking at that shot of Dimitri, I was like, I don't want to mess with that dude.
Yeah, he's just an amazing actor. He's always so helpful. Love the guy. I was actually, when he's walking with the lantern, I had somebody else to DP for me at that moment, and I was holding a LED light up, and I was just crawling backwards. So it had the light
wild.
spill. Yeah.
So
stuff you don't know happens behind the scenes.
So Arianna, how much training did you take to do the for the fight choreography? Was it like hard training, or what was going through your head when you were learning how to do hand-to-hand combat?
Oh goodness, love this question so much. Okay, so when we were on set, that's kind of what my daddy was saying by how Jonathan took only about an hour or so to go through the choreography. Props to him and to Evie and just to the whole team for learning and teaching so quickly. We basically learned that fight choreography in about an hour, which is exceedingly short of time to learn any kind of choreography. Obviously, it was a short choreography, but still, it was really good, and it was so fun. This is one of my first times actually doing fight choreography. So, I've done lots of other fighting stuff in the past just for fun, but this was probably one of the first ones I've done for a movie. So yeah, the moment I was on set, the first thing that we were doing was me and Jonathan before Evie came on set. And Jonathan and I were just going through the moves, and he was teaching me, and we would just kind of go through it together. And then when Evie came, then he basically taught her, and then he'd have us do it back and forth, and we did it like a billion times. My arms were hurting. It was insane. I was physically going, but inwardly I was like, this is so exciting. And probably by the time that we started shooting, it was just a blast, man. It was so much fun. But yeah, props to Evie for learning quickly. And of course, props to Jonathan for teaching so well and explaining himself. But it was one of the quickest fight choreographies I've ever learned by me. And it was still so much fun. Loved it.
So, Mike, was your daughter Arianna, was she your first choice to play the main role?
That's a very good question. So I'll be very honest with you. I know a lot of people in the industry that because they have family and friends that they automatically, they secure the deal. They're like, yeah, I'm going to have you on everything, blah, blah, blah. I'm the opposite, and Ari's kind of with me on that because I did almost everything I could to double, triple, and quadruple check if Ari would be Anya. In fact, I had others submit their auditions for Anya, and I literally put it in the hands of my producers. Big shout out to my producers, by the way. Sonny Lasheen, who is my executive producer and casting, and he's helped to shape tremendously the Indiegogo fundraiser that we're trying to put through, which is the biggest thing right now on our minds. And then Jesus Celeste Guzman, who is another producer, and she's got military background. She's just amazing. And so I literally, I knew Ari could do it. And if she couldn't, I would help her to do it because, we got that proximity perk here, So, but I wanted to give everybody else a chance. I don't ever want to show favoritism. That's just how I work. You know what I mean? Just because she's my daughter and I'm the director doesn't mean that she's going to get the part. That's how I am. And
I submitted an audition just like everybody else did.
Yeah, she did. She submitted an audition, and I submitted her along with everyone else. And I literally got back, instantly, okay, she nailed it. She's got it. And I'm like, okay, are you sure? Because check out so-and-so, check out this girl, check out that girl. They look really good and stuff. And I literally did a pushback every chance I had to make sure, because I don't want anybody to think just because she's my daughter that she got the role. It's about talent. It's about who can do it and who fits that role, kind of thing. And I mean, both the producers are just like, she's got it. She did everything, according to what the audition was needed. And so finally, and I didn't even announce her right away either, to be honest with you. I'm just like, all right, I'll do it. I'll announce everyone else, give them props. I'm always trying to give others like props and recognition and stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, I knew she can do it, and she can play it. So, and she would love to do it too. So, yeah, that's the process.
He's extremely fair, and I love that about him. That nepotism runs rampant in the entertainment industry, and and he knows that as well as anybody does. And I love that he does everything he can to combat that and to give other people a chance. I was in there just as much as all the other actresses that were auditioning for Anya. So yeah, no, it was just like any other casting process for me.
Well, that's pretty good. I mean, I'm glad I asked you that question, and you're very truthful about that. That's how it should be. But how in the industry, it's always certain like clicks, favoritism, which I think is wrong. You should go after somebody that really deserves that role. If you have it like for somebody as well. Since you guys are filming this as a short film, will this ever be like a feature film in the future?
So I would like nothing more than this to be a feature. With the film short, like the arc has to be very quick. I mean, I can't go into like the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Four separate stories to come back at the end, kind of thing. So, and it's really frustrating because it's all about funding. It really is. And this is the part that I personally hate the most. I'm the creative brain, the writer, the director, the creative, and I produce it, make it. I can edit it, but that funding part is just like, if funding was not an issue, this would have been a feature without a doubt. So right now we're just trying to push and raise the funds, and it's even a small amount. It's like $15,000 right now so I can get this green lit. If we had the funds or somebody invested in it, definitely I would make this into a feature film. The other circle around that is that once we do film, it will go through. If it stays a film short, then it'll go through the film festival circuit. I've been a film festival director before and judge before, so I know this is going to win awards. It's already won awards, to be honest with you. The trailer has won awards. Just this morning I got another finalist for another film festival, and this is just for the trailer. So but once it's done with the festival circuit, as a lot of filmmaker friends have told me, you can use this as a catalyst to say, look, this is a film short, invest in this, for the normal amount that we need and make it a full feature, and it's going to be epic and incredible. So that's what I'll be doing. If it stays a film, short, I'll be pitching it, using that to see, somebody can invest and help make it a full feature.
All right, Arianna. Now let's talk about you. You're a well-known author. Wow.
I don't know about well-known, but an author, sure. 3-time published best-selling author, yeah.
That's pretty good. And you're more like of a motivational speaker. Is that correct?
Yeah, I do that too.
And then you do a lot of voiceovers, like for Old Navy, Taco Bell. How'd you get into all the voiceovers?
Oh, voiceovers. Yeah, I literally just did some right before this interview. Oh goodness. I got into about 6 or so, as I did with many other things, when my daddy was, as he always is, leading the way in Path of Innovation. He was doing voice acting, and I was just watching him with awe as a child in the studio, just going like, "How are you doing that?" And just so excited to see his passion for it. And suddenly, I started to develop a passion for voice work, and so primarily he was actually part of this one project that was just this, very low budget, just kind of normal little podcast, little audio series called Pure Bond. And it was just basically about, he was the, playing the father of the main character, and the main character got kidnapped. So he's like, I will rescue you, my daughter, and all this kind of stuff. And here I am, just like, why can't I play your daughter? Like, I'm your daughter in real life, And so, my daddy, of course, lovingly informed me that that's not how the casting process works, and that, somebody else was, of course, picked to play his daughter. But he's like, but what you can do is start getting into voiceover work. And so he started kind of helping me go into some different roles and, just auditioning and doing all kinds of stuff, learning tips and tricks and all these different things. Actually, funnily enough, years later, after I started getting more into voiceover work, I actually got reached out to by the same guy who did that Pure Bond podcast for a reboot, and he decided to cast me as the sister of the main character, which is my daddy's daughter. So I actually did get that dream realized. That was a really cool thing. But after, kind of right around that point, is when things started to really skyrocket. Then it started getting into higher quality stuff, higher end things, and just continuing to work. And as my voice grew deeper, I actually got to be able to play now a very wide variety of roles, from teens to, I got a mother in her 30s once. I'm like, thank you for that compliment. That I sound like I'm old enough for that. And then I can still do, obviously, a young voice, as you probably already heard, So, just like doing different voices, different accents are some of my favorite things to do ever. Absolutely love it. So kind of that's how I got into voice acting, and then, finding some of the amazing opportunities I've been able to. Absolutely blessed to have the opportunity to do things for Old Navy, Amazon, Taco Bell, let's see, Plato's Closet, Marriott Hotel, Rita's Italian Ice, all that stuff, Amazon. And it's just been a wild ride, and I love it so much. It's just a wonderful thing.
All right. I'm going to get another question for you guys. Do you guys love horror?
Well, for me personally, I love it in the sense that I love thriller. We are big thriller fans, psychological thriller especially. I'm not as much for the gore. It's not that it bothers me. It's just that it can be even more powerful actually when it's off screen sometimes, when it's implied and you're like, oh no, I know what happened to them, and it can actually be really powerful in that way. So not exactly the slasher style, but oh my goodness, psychological thriller and in that horror blend genre is absolutely awesome. I love it 100%. What about you?
So I'm the same way. Psychological thrillers are my favorite because it just it gets your mind and emotions involved in it. You get involved, and you try to before everyone's dead. You got to figure out what's going on, and
almost like a mystery.
It's a mystery, but
creepier.
A life and death mystery.
Yeah, mystery but creepier.
Creepy mystery. So there's a lot of different types of horror, to be honest with you. And even Megan, which is one of my favorite, what they consider a horror, which I don't consider a horror, but they called it a horror flick. Megan is one of our favorites. It's just so well done. It's interesting, as a filmmaker, it was like a $12.5 million budget, and it's gained over $200+ million of profit. It's like, wow, that's how to do it. So I grew up on, Friday the 13th and Amityville Horror and, all it's, I wouldn't say slasher per se. I would just say that it's horror because there's a lot of jump scares, but there's it's a mixture. It's not just like you run in the woods, you run into somebody who has a razor and they slice you up and your intestines come out, although, it's like, I've always been intrigued on the special effects of that stuff. I'm like, there's so many different ways you can go about the special effects of horror films. But, and to answer a question that you brought up, I wouldn't mind, of course, doing a horror, but with an actual storyline, and a moral to the story. And you can, if you make it a combination between horror / psychological thriller, it will be more powerful, So, I understand. I grew up, when I was a kid, you can 2:00 in the morning, go on a horror / slasher flick. You just have your there's snacks, and you just, you veg out, and,
popcorn,
candy, whatever. It's like slash, guts, arms, eyeballs, you're like, cool. What else you got, man? So it's like, I get it. I totally get it. I just like to do things with the purpose. So, if I did, and let me say this. I have on IMDb a psychological / horror flick ready to make, and it's called Snaps.
Woo.
Snaps is the name of the game. And so I already have a storyline for it. It's just a matter of funding, getting the full script together, but it is a horror. It's a thriller / horror film that I'm ready to make already. And again, it's on IMDb already. It's called Snaps. Like Snaps, I learned this when I was a youth pastor. I learned this game called Snaps is the name of the game. And I'm just like, I'm thinking all kinds of like crazy, creepy thriller, horror things that I can do with Snaps is the name of the game, and it's just like, really cool stuff. So yeah, I have that already in the works actually.
So since you have it already in the works, are you going to do practical effects?
You mean as opposed to CGI?
Yes.
I always like to do practical whenever possible, just because there's so many cool. We love special effects. I mean, Avatar, woo! But it's like cool practical effects. You can't really substitute it 100%.
Yeah.
By CG. I like when you merge the two. You got the uncanny valley per se, where you merge practical with CGI, and there's no way which is which, because it enhances it. And so I like to use practical first, and then if necessary, enhance it with CGI.
Oh. We love practical though.
We got a whole drama department of everything from like the latex skin and stuff. On our first movie film short that we did called Alien Survival. And we've got BTS shots of this. I created all kinds of gashes and cuts with bleeding, like from a monster, basically. And, and it's just like all kinds of like huge open wounds, gashes with blood coming out. And it looked really good because I love special effects. We love special effects. So.
Same. But that's one of the reasons why we love certain things. Like even we were watching the behind the scenes of when they made the first season of The Mandalorian, the Star Wars show. And one of the things I really love about that is how they were able to still implement set design and practical effects and things that actually are on the set and things you can interact with, just like how they used to make sets back then, but still having the digital background that has the things that they need. I feel like that's kind of how we like to make films, is just like he said, to mix the practical and the digital, and to bring them together and to create an awesome masterpiece.
That'd be pretty awesome. Also, on films, there's always a good score, which makes the film really good. And it also can be the characters sometimes in the film. So, do you have a great score you're going to be adding to Sleepers? Is it going to be kind of like a Cold War-ish type of score? Or is it going to be like something that's really going to get your adrenaline pumped?
So, that's a great question. I don't think I've been asked that one yet. So, music is everything to me. A music can make or break a film.
Permission to add something real quick.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, just to prove what you were saying, to kind of go off of that, speaking of Star Wars, when they first made A New Hope, when they completed the first draft of it, they didn't have the music composer yet. They didn't have John Williams composing the music for it. And when they completed the movie, they had it for the first screening and they showed it to the audience. And the audience, they hated it. They did not like the movie. They thought it was boring. They thought I don't know. This is just it's weird. It's hard to understand, yada, 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 right? They put it back in screening a second time after they got John Williams to compose the score, and he did this kind of, big, grandiose, everybody knows the Star Wars theme and the Star Wars music and just everything in it. When they redid it, the people loved it. That's the importance of a good score.
Yeah, so music is everything to me. I already have, and every time we go to Planet Fitness, like half the time there, I'm like listening to like certain music songs that I'm wanting to play, the styles and stuff like that during certain things, and without giving too much away, like the opening is gonna like capture you right away because it's gonna be drone work going
nice.
in up and inside this creepy, flipping, amazing, abandoned looking warehouse. And it's opening, and with Dimitri, the overseer, as he walks and goes up this elevator shaft, that's a real elevator shaft that squeaks, and you can see it just go in Pennsylvania, Reading, Pennsylvania. And so the opening is going to be what's, if you do a search result, it's called dark cinematic suspense. And so it's going to be that.
Nice.
And it's going to put you on the edge of your seat as the drone work, and it comes closer to the building, flying. Okay, I don't know how much I should.
No, leave it right there. You're one of those guys that like to spoil it. You're one of those dudes.
So
you're that guy.
I've never been spoken.
Hey.
Going backwards. Suspense, but there is a thematic. We do have somebody who's on board who is a huge award-winning composer for amazing stuff. He's done stuff for Lionsgate and stuff. So the composition is going to be like epic, cinematic epic, and it will change because it needs to change per scene. So when it comes to like the school scene, it's going to be a much warmer feel to it. When it gets to the underground Russian training grooming place, it's going to have that, like maybe a mixture of that Cold War, like you talked about, and this deep, dark, cinematic, undertones of this is not right, kind of thing. And then hopefully, because this is a big deal when you're into the movie theater scoring, is that you always have a theme for the main character. And so with Anya, hopefully he can get together a thematic reoccurrence of the main character, and that's a big deal.
So, where can everybody find you guys on social media so they know what you guys are doing next? Ooh.
So the first thing is that Sleepers, which is sleepersthemovie.com. That's our project that we have. Please, if you can, donate or contribute or purchase a perk. We have 25 different perks, from just a friend of the film to a one-time, contribution to, if you want producer credits, or you want to be an executive producer or associate producer credits, we have a lot of options, and we will literally put you in the credits of the movie. And depending on which one you get, those executive or associate can be in the beginning and the ending, roll credits and all that kind of stuff. And then executive producer, and then also product placement and brand integration. So, these are big things that help the fundraiser, and it's an Indiegogo fundraiser. So literally you can go to, it's igg.me/AT, like @/Sleepers the movie. Hopefully maybe you can drop a link or something, but even if you do a search, Sleepers the movie, or you can go to sleepersthemovie.com. And then we also have a Facebook group that is it's 1,100. There's 1,100 in this group, and it's Facebook Sleepers the movie. Let's see here. It is Facebook.com groups/Sleepers the movie. You can get a hold of me at crystalfoxfilms.com or director@crystalfoxfilms.com. And we're pretty much online: Facebook, Instagram official Mike Fox. And then Ari.
Well, I'd like to tell people that both he and I are kind of on any social media platform known to man, except for the new one, Threads. That one's weird. But anyway, we are on all kinds of different social media. You can find me, A Fox Author, like A for Arianna and Fox for Fox, or just think of it like a fox standing next to you, staring at you, who happens to be an author. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, even TikTok, which I do not like, but I still am there, and all those other places. And also, he mentioned Official Mike Fox and Crystal Fox Films. He mentioned that Official Mike Fox is on Instagram, but so is Crystal Fox Films as well, and Sleepers the movie.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Sleepers the movie is on Instagram and on Facebook. So give it a shout out. Follow, support. That's kind of wherever you'll find any new news and tips and updates on the movie and what's happening. And of course, just got to reiterate it because it's important. Go donate. Go donate to the Indiegogo. Literally, even the smallest bit can help. A big part of it is just the fact that there are lots of different people donating and putting their little bit into the movie. So anything helps, anything, just click that link.
Thank you so much for coming on. It was a blast.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you for having us. Love it. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Everybody.